Okay, hello everybody. I have got to copy this real quick and send it back out. This is Eric,
Okay, hello,
aka Wolfbitten.
I have got to
Copy this. There we go. And let me copy this to clipboard. Here we go, and let me send it to my friends now. And welcome to the discussion today. We're going to have with us a couple of special friends, Mr. Doran and Mr. Bill, and anybody else that wants to join in today, you are surely welcome. Hopefully, we're going to have some special friends here today from the group Nemesis. That's what we're hoping, and we sure look forward to it. If they will show up, that's going to be a great treat. Hopefully they'll have some special debate for us today, if they would like to step right up. So we will find out if that happens or not very shortly here. And let me see. I'm going to put this in the chat box, so bear with me just a moment here. We had a little bit of a misstart. That was pretty funny today. But it's been a really hectic day. I'll tell you all about it in a moment here as we get this rolling. So let me put the link over here for my friends. There's that in Facebook. And let me pull this up over here. Thank you so much for bearing with me. This has been one heck of a hectic day, but it's really been a good day. God prevails in everything. Good prevails in everything. And I thank God for that. So let me pull this up. And hopefully we'll get to this debate here in just a moment. So we'll go over here. And I wonder, is anybody from Nemesis out there at the moment? Anybody at all? And I wonder if we're going to find out. So as soon as that chat opens up, I'll drop the link in here. And we will invite everybody onto the show. And you're welcome today to drop in. This invitation is open for whoever would like to drop in today, too. And we're going to add Doran to the stream. Doran, hello, brother. How are you?
Good. How are you, Eric?
Very good. Sorry for our little misstart earlier. That was entertaining, though, I got to say. Bill, welcome, brother. We have Doran and we have Bill here. Now, let me...
That's it. Look at that. South lovely. South lovely.
There we go. And we have Cherie. We have Jack Smack in the chat there. It's good to see you guys.
Oh,
and so one more time. Doran, this is Doran, rather. I keep calling him Doran because this Doran.
Doran. It's natural.
Yes.
Up Doran too, if I didn't know.
So I apologize for that, but this is my buddy Doran. And the reason I mix up his name is because this is the first time we've ever really talked face to face. And we've been Facebook buddies for years, and he's a good guy, good family man, and welcome, brother. I'm glad to have you on today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, and brother Bill, welcome. It's so good to see you too.
It's always good to be here. Always good to be here and have some fellowship with you, mate. Always good.
It's fun to fellowship. Amen. Well, so
I've even brought Squiddy. As you can see, I've brought Squiddy with me today.
Hey, I love your squid, man. I really do. I got to learn.
background. Look at this background. It's just
Yeah,
very your background.
yeah. He's very good with that stuff and Photoshop and all kinds of stuff like that. Bill's a very talented man, and I'm kind of a hack myself, as you can see. I have nothing here, but I'm going to have Bill and a couple other friends teach me some of this stuff so I can upgrade my production a little bit here.
Yeah. But first things first, make sure you download OBS, and we'll connect on Facebook on a private chat, and I'll run you through through it, how to use it properly.
All right. That sounds good. I appreciate that. So we're going to talk a little bit today about, a lot of things. I've developed a fan club, a group of about 50 atheist stalkers. That's been fun. I'm in Facebook jail currently for 30 days.
We'll come visit you.
I appreciate that. I really do.
We'll write you.
Bring me a cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they comment in my videos and make sure I get a lot of views. I always appreciate that, and so we have a good time. I do anyway. We recently had a debate. Did you guys get to see any of that?
No, I missed it personally.
No. Well, it was kind of funny. We had a format that we were going to follow, and I'll tell you how the debate came about. Right before they started mass reporting my posts on Facebook to get me banned, we had they offered that they wanted to debate, so I brought them onto my group, and we debated tried to debate a few times. One poor fella, he was their champion debater. He couldn't find the opening post. Well, he found the thread, but evidently he never read the opening post. So he wouldn't introduce himself. He didn't tell me about his position or anything like that. So I opened 4 opening posts and said, look, you got to look up here. You got to read this, and you got to tell me what position you hold. Because, there's different positions a person can hold with evolution and punctuated equilibrium or gradualist or what have you. So I couldn't get the poor fellow to do that. So he eventually, I guess, got frustrated and quit. Mm-hmm. I did have another debate with one of them, but after 3 or 4 posts, he quit. And then another one said he wanted to debate, but he never would post. He didn't even get his first post in. And this wasn't from muting or banning or anything like that. They just couldn't do it. So
just literally just giving up.
Yes, just literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got mad at me. They got frustrated. And they challenged me to come on YouTube. And I said, well, I've got a channel. They wouldn't come on my channel. So they said, well, we've got a channel. And they dared me to come on their channel. So I agreed to their channel, their moderator, against one of their friends, and all of them in the audience. Uh-huh. So, things like that don't intimidate me. They just don't. I figure one of 2 things is going to happen. Either they're going to let me speak, and the facts will come out, and evolution is going to lose that debate, or they will get frightened, they will get intimidated, and they will shut me up in midstream, and then they're going to look bad on their channel. So, either way, I'm good. I don't care.
Yeah.
So we started our debate, and let me pull something up here. This is really kind of funny. We had a format. We got a 10-minute open each. We got to open for 10 minutes, and that went without a hitch. My opponent got to do his open. I did my open first. He followed me, did his open. And it was just your standard openings. He didn't have anything impressive to put before us. My opening was based on a couple of things. First of all, I predicted that he wouldn't bring anything that's been falsifiable evidence. I pointed out what scientific method is. You make your observation, you develop your hypothesis, and then to separate your hypothesis from fantasy, you have to put it through a falsification process. And the falsification process has to have a fair chance, an honest chance of proving your hypothesis wrong. That's what falsification is. You actually try to prove your hypothesis wrong. And if there's no test by which you can prove your hypothesis is wrong, then it's unfalsifiable. It's as good as science fiction. So, but you certainly can't really call it science at that point. You can call it a good imagination. And I predicted that that's all he would be able to bring to the table, would be things that have already been proven wrong or things that aren't even falsifiable. And I pointed out transitional fossils because we're told the fossil record proves evolution and that every fossil is transitional. But, okay, with a transitional fossil, you make your observation. You observe there's two different types of fossils, and then you make your hypothesis. Okay, this is the parent animal group to this animal group. That's your hypothesis, that one gave way to the other. And now you've got to test it. But the only way you could possibly, ever possibly hope to prove that wrong is to test the DNA. It's like a woman going to court before a judge, and she says, look, this man is short and squat and fat and bald, just like my baby, so he's obviously the father. And the judge isn't going to just give her money. He's going to demand a DNA test.
Yeah.
Because that can prove whether or not this man is that baby's father. So that's the only way possible we have to falsify these transitional fossils, these hypotheses. And since we have billions of fossils, they have billions of hypotheses that they need to falsify, and they can't falsify a single one because they don't have the DNA. Now, where they do have the DNA, like for instance, the Neanderthal, we do have the DNA of the Neanderthal. And the interesting thing about that is when they ran the DNA test, we found out that we have Homo sapiens have interbred with Neanderthal, and Homo sapiens have interbred with Denisovans, and they interbred together. Now, what that means is we are the same species by definition.
Right, not separate species. Correct. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all of this saying that Neanderthals and Denisovans are examples of human evolution, that's just false. You know, that's like saying, you know, that's as racist as saying that the pygmies are examples of human evolution. You know, so, but no, there were all the same species. That's not an example of evolution at all.
Yeah.
So I pointed these things out in my opener, and then in his opener, all he presented were hypotheses that can't be falsified. And so next comes, after our 10-minute opener, we were supposed to have a 10-minute cross-examination. And then we were supposed to have a 15-minute open chat, and then 20 to 40 minutes of questions from the audience, and then a 3-minute closing. Now, you guys know what a cross-examination is, right? You get to cross-examine. If they start, if you ask your question, if they start answering the wrong question, or don't get to the point, or they give you a bad answer, you get to stop them, correct them, and rephrase your question, whatever the case may be, and get an answer. And if they don't want to answer it, you move on to your next question. So at any rate, you ought to see this guy's look on his face when I began cross-examining him. This poor fella, he got the look on his face like a deer caught in the headlights, and he was scared. You could see it right there. And I'll show you in just a second. And when they saw how scared this fellow was, and that he was stumbling and getting caught up in just the first couple of questions, they muted me. And then they began arguing. The moderator began arguing with me, eating up my time. And then they kept me muted while he just talked away, eating up the rest of my time. And then during our 15 minutes of what should have been an open discussion, they did the same thing to me. It wasn't an open discussion at all. So I called that right. That was the only way they could try to help this fellow save face. But I'll pull this up and get your opinion. Let me put this on. Okay. I'm going to put this on screen share. So give me a second here.
Is our discussion going to be going on to YouTube, Eric?
Yeah.
I'm going to say maybe you could put a link to the discussion you're talking about in the comments on YouTube, if that's possible.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Yeah, let me pull it up here. Here's the link. And I'll put it in the comments here. There's the link to our debate right there. And now let me pull this back up.
Let's see if I'm smart enough to find this.
Well, I'll put it on screen share, and
okay,
everybody will be able to see that.
You usually find that with these people, they never get past the hypothesis stage.
Exactly. No, they do not.
And I've not. There's no empirical evidence. There's nothing there. Literally, they hypothesize just as Darwin did and all the others. And when it comes, when the rubber has to hit the tarmac, the road, there's no evidence whatsoever. Still no evidence.
That's a fact.
And that is, where we have evidence, we have evidence that we are here, the stars are there, the heavens are there, creation is there. We have all this evidence, and that was written down for us thousands of years ago in Genesis. We have it all.
Yes.
And that's as simple as that. Again, no evidence.
Right.
It's a pseudoscience,
That's exactly what it is.
It is a pseudoscience because they don't go through, depending on where you go, there's either 5 or 6 stages in regard to proving the science. And depending where you go, the hypothesis is usually either the first or second step, and that's it. They fail on that, don't get any further. It's not like physics or mathematics and things like this. Evolution is literally stuck, and it will forever be stuck at the hypothesis point.
Yeah. Well, that was the problem that Mr. Warren was running into. And right here, I'm getting ready to cross-examine him. And my time is about to start. And bear with me just a second here. Here we go. Now, he already looks apprehensive. You can see that apprehensive. That's me on the upper right, and that's my opponent, J.L. Warren, on the upper left. And he already looks pretty apprehensive, but here we go. Let's see what happens.
And when you start, I will start.
Okay, you mentioned arguments of incredulity. Is it an argument of incredulity to ask you for the falsification processes, for the hypotheses that you've gone through and presented?
Yes, it does. It means you don't understand the scientific process.
So you see right there, he's saying that if I ask for the falsification process that his hypotheses have gone through, then I don't understand science, and it's an argument from incredulity. Can you believe that? So, but here we go. I'm going to rewind that just a little bit, and I'll let this play through a little bit for you guys.
Second paper was actually taking.
Okay. I think I took it back a bit too far. But can you believe somebody saying that asking for a falsification process was an argument from incredulity? Now, how do they come to that? Does anybody have any idea how they could come to that?
Ever wish you could order a Jets pizza with a text?
I don't know, but that pizza made me feel hungry.
It does look good, doesn't it?
She hit me in because they redefine the goalposts according to their own narration. That's all that happens. You see that all the time. It really is that simple. You know, true science, empirical science has always gone through different levels to prove a point, and evolution fails at step one. That's really the end of the subject in regard to them, because they had none. You're not seeing that at all. Every kind is still every kind. Nothing has changed. Obviously, common sense tells you that God has already built in our DNA, etc. Adaptation. We know that. You know, if I, living in the northern hemisphere, moved to the southern hemisphere, you know, over a period of generations and time, my pigmentation would start getting darker. That's called adaptation. And the same vice versa. You know, we have people, living examples in Britain, where people moved from the southern hemisphere to Britain generations ago, and their pigmentation is a lot paler than their actual family members from generations ago. That's not evolution. That's literally just God inbuilt adaptation. That's all that is. And I don't know what's happened to. I don't know what's happened.
I think it's just me and you now, Bill. We're it's up to us. We gotta pilot this ship now.
Yeah, we got to hold the fort. Hold the fort.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay.
Hey, thank you guys.
We had a moment of panic. We panicked.
I'm so sorry. What a time to have.
Half what he said. You probably missed half what he said. You're going to have to rewind that now, Eric.
Okay.
Hey, gentlemen, could I ask a question, if you don't mind? You know, a lot of times what you hear in connection with the idea of falsifiability is that, you know, there are lots of instances in modern science, like let's say in physics and in string theory, where they say that there are aspects of the theory that are not even in principle falsifiable. So, but they're necessary to the theory insofar as any theory is, you know, what they call an inference to the best explanation. So I'm going to take all of the observable evidence, whatever it is, and in order to make sense of it, I'm going to construct a theory that explains all of the evidence. So, but there are some aspects of the theory that become so inaccessible to empirical verification that they're going to remain forever theoretical. So might there be aspects of evolutionary? Now, I should preface this by saying that I reject evolutionary theory outright, both for reasons of evidence and for theological reasons. But that's an argument that gets made a lot, that you know, that the idea that every scientific theory needs to be open to, or every aspect of scientific theory needs to be open to falsifiability, is an older 1960s kind of Karl Popper idea, you know, and that's been supplanted by, you know, the philosophy of science of Thomas Kuhn, who's going to say that, you know, theories just don't work like that. Like if there's a difficulty in the theory, there's going to be a way to provide an explanation for that that's going to preserve the overall theory. And that's what we're doing in evolutionary theory. What do you think about an argument like that, Eric or Bill?
I personally think that argument comes from evolutionists. And they're also the same ones that says science doesn't prove anything. Because science doesn't prove evolution. However, I disagree with that statement too. Science proves things every single day. Science, yeah.
Mhm.
Science proves we can control my blood pressure, my heart rate. Science proves that we can put a man on the moon.
Right.
Science has proven this. My opponent in debate went so far as to say that the fact we landed on the moon didn't prove that we can land on the moon.
Wait a minute. Run that by me one more time.
He literally said that the fact we landed on the moon doesn't prove that we can land on the moon. It only demonstrates that we can land on the moon.
What?
And that's exactly what he said. It's in the debate. I kid you not.
Okay.
So
I don't know. I'm not sure what to say about that, honestly.
yeah, but you see, it's the same thing. We have hard science and we have soft science. Hard science, like chemistry, for instance, I can say that to prove that if we combine, say, water and carbide, that this would create acetylene. All we have to do is mix the two, water and carbide, and do it 1,000,000 times. It'll create acetylene every single time. So you can falsify hard science. This proves that evolution is not a hard science.
Well, maybe evolution is like an early version of Common Core math. For me, anyone who's logical empirical knows that 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't equal 7 or 9. And this is what they're doing, where they're jumping to their conclusions, can't even get beyond the hypothesis stage. So within that hypothesis stage, they calculate their own numbers and own narrated weird pseudoscience, and they come up with their own stuff. As simple as that. It is really simple, and using big words and jargon and acclaiming scientists, so-called, that are kind of textbook brainwashed common math people, to me, and hopefully it shouldn't sway people, but it does, because people always look up to, what is the official narration. And again, I wish they wouldn't. I wish they'd do what science is, which is to test things. Don't just assume it's true. Prove it's true.
Yes.
And this is like same with politicians, same with everyone else. Whatever kind of circumvent area there is in society, let it be proven to be true before we say it's true. You can't just say it's true just because it's true.
Yes.
Well, it can serve. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah. Again, although obviously atheists and anti-theists and agnostics would disagree with, obviously, my grasp, my worldview, but at least my worldview is written in Genesis and we can see it. So at least we have that. But they have nothing. They don't have literally nothing. We've never seen a kind jumping and changing into another kind. We've always seen dogs produce dogs, cats produce cats, people produce people. That's the kind. Yes, obviously we have variations in kind. Of course we do. We have dark pigmented people, in the southern hemisphere, light pigmented people in northern hemisphere. But they are still people. And this is again, this proves what we was talking about a while back, Eric. If people actually read The Theory of Evolution, they would understand that, when he writes that, he's talking about subspecies, lower species. He's calling colour people lower species.
Yes.
So, and this is what it leads. So if you want to know where the heart of racism and heart of all this nonsense, that comes from them, not from the Bible, because in the Bible, we are all one race. We are all one blood in Adam. But the theory of evolution makes a distinction that, no, the lighter pigmented people are more intellect and more advanced, whereas the darker pigmented people, they're less evolved and they're less advanced. There's the heart of racism. There's the heart of communism. There's the heart of all sorts of evil in evolution. And that's why I call it evolution. I don't call it evolution. I call it evolution because that's at the heart of it. I'll shut up. I've meandered enough there, but that's that's my penny for it.
No, that was very good. Oh, sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
That's okay. We have a couple of Nemesis members in the audience. I see Edward.
Welcome.
And Edward, feel free to jump on in. Here is the link to the live stream. We'll be happy to bring you on. I'll treat you good. I won't treat you the way they treated me in the debate. You're very welcome to join us. While we're waiting to see if he jumps in, I'm going to play this a little bit. And what I want you to notice is this. I want you to notice the very apprehensive look on my opponent's face as I'm ready to cross-examine him. And then I want you to notice the worried look he gets on his face as I'm questioning him, and I'm holding his feet to the fire, making him answer my questions. And then, after they see that he's confused, he doesn't want to answer my questions, and that he's starting to really look bad now, that's when they mute me. And then that's when I begin, that's when they first start chastising me. And then they mute me just very shortly after that, saying that I'm not giving him a chance to talk. But I am giving him a chance to talk. He just doesn't want to talk about what I asked him. So here we go.
He's gone full Greta Thunberg. He went blah, 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 blah. That's what Greta Thunberg done.
Yeah. Well, I'll share this again, and bear with me just a second here while I pull it up. And in the meantime, Edward, if you want to drop in, you are more than welcome to drop in. But actually, even though I'm not afraid to go on the channel of my enemy, those that make themselves my enemy, I'm not their enemy. Against an enemy, somebody makes themselves an enemy, with someone that made themselves an enemy as a moderator. I'm not afraid of that, but for some reason, they're very intimidated to come on and just talk to us. And, I really think that's sad. That you're invited. Please feel free to come on in. And in the meantime, I'm going to show a little bit of this video. And let me start her back up here. So notice the apprehensive look on his face as I'm getting ready to question him.
Next is Eric, your opportunity for cross-examination. And when you start, I will start.
Okay, you mentioned arguments of incredulity. Is it an argument of incredulity to ask you for the falsification processes, for the hypotheses that you've gone through and presented?
Yes, it does. It means you don't understand the scientific
process. Oh, so if I ask you, I don't understand the scientific process, what is falsification?
Yeah, hey, Eric, please let him have an opportunity to at least finish his answer.
So it means that you don't have a full understanding of the scientific methodology.
Explain the scientific methodology. I explained it at the very beginning of my opening.
Again, he was mid-answer. Sorry.
I'm sorry. What I presented that in the opening. Tell me what is wrong with the scientific process. You make your observation. You present your hypothesis.
Notice how
you go through the falsification process, falsifying that hypothesis, and the falsification process is what?
Now, notice how nervous he's looking here, guys. He's looking really, really nervous, and they're already getting on me because I'm pressuring him to answer my question.
So, to finish the answer.
What is a falsification process? You understand?
Let him answer, please.
Yeah, I'm asking him, what is a falsification process?
But he got 3 words in, and you cut him off.
I don't understand, okay? I'm proving that that's not true. He's the one that doesn't understand. So what is the falsification process?
When you go through the scientific method, okay, when you're going through the methodology.
What is the falsification process?
You see how he's not answering the question I'm asking him? And do you see that nervous look on his face?
He's going to land up banning. He'll ban you. He'll ban.
Go ahead.
I said he'll land up banning you. That's what they usually do. They ban you.
Yeah, they will. He's wanting to answer everything but what I'm asking him now. He wasn't going to answer how is it an argument from incredulity to ask you for the falsification process. He said plainly, if I ask him for the falsification process his hypotheses went through, then I don't understand science. So just asking what falsification process has this undergone, he's claiming that's only asked by people that don't understand science. So evidently he doesn't understand what you're supposed to do with a hypothesis. Now he's not wanting to answer what is a falsification process. And the simple answer is a falsification process isn't just a test, but it's a test with the capability, an honest capability of proving your hypothesis wrong. So here we go.
And what is it?
It's when you can show how the situation is not to be true.
No, falsification is the attempt to prove your hypothesis is untrue. It has to potentially be able to prove your hypothesis untrue.
Eric.
So how is it unfair to ask you for the falsification process that your hypothesis?
If I can answer the question, please.
This is the question. How is it unfair of me to ask you for the falsification process thing went through?
Eric, please extend the same courtesy that Geoff.
You see, now that the answer is already given, and I ask him again, how is it unfair to ask you for the falsification process that your hypotheses have gone through? They're interrupting me again. And look at how nervous he looks right here. This is because he doesn't want to.
So you're just looking for a simple, straightforward answer.
Yes.
Do we know what answer he wanted to give? Like, did he want to give something like the like what I mentioned earlier, about theories being complex and not open really to, like, even if there is disconfirming evidence, you can still come up with some kind of theoretical construction that'll save the theory. Is that where he's going?
Well, his answer to my first question was, what is wrong with me asking for the falsification process? How is that an argument from incredulity?
Okay.
Then he says,
I'm curious. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but just maybe to clarify for people who are listening, what does he understand, do you think, by the argument from incredulity? Because I usually take that to mean, this argument is going to threaten my beliefs, therefore it must be false.
Yeah, something like that. But he's telling me that just asking for the falsification process that his hypotheses have gone through, that's an argument from incredulity. That's what he said first.
That's hard to see how that could be the case, because, like, I mean, my understanding of the argument from incredulity is what I mentioned, that it's an assertion must be false because it threatens because it conflicts.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
I agree.
It's usually a charge that's leveled against, religious believers.
Yeah. Well, then I asked him, what is the falsification process? And he went on trying to answer 2 or 3 other things, instead of telling me what is the falsification process. It's a very simple question. Yeah. It's a test that's capable of proving your hypothesis wrong. Right. So, that's the simple answer.
Because your hypothesis is going to make a certain prediction.
Yes.
And that prediction can be empirically verified. That's right. That's basically the idea of that in a nutshell is falsifiability, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you could call lots of things prediction, but if you're going to say one transitional fossil is the parent to another transitional fossil, the only thing that can falsify that is DNA. That's the only thing that has the potential of proving it wrong.
Straightforwardly.
Yes, yes.
Like it could be less straightforwardly, like if you were going to appeal to, let's say, physical morphology or something like that. So if you
right.
so they might appeal to. I mean, I think I've seen cases like that where they argue from, this particular fossil shows a transition because even though we don't have DNA, we have the morphology. So the best explanation, the simplest, most parsimonious explanation, is going to be that there was natural selection and mutation, i.e., evolution, right?
Right.
That's what they're going to say.
Well, even the morphology, when you think about it, that's simply an observation. That's how they determine that what the hypothetical parent and child animal groups are. Okay, like the Archaeopteryx, for instance, they say is a transition between the theropod dinosaur and birds, modern birds. Now, okay,
yes.
So
there you
that's
go.
That's based completely on morphology. Okay,
yes.
Completely.
Yeah.
So your morphology is your observation. You're observing that this has characteristics of a theropod dinosaur and it has characteristics of a bird. So it's obviously, they say it's obviously a transition in between. Yeah. Okay, but really that's their hypothesis.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say that's an important point, that it needs to be recognized that remains a theoretical construct and not a demonstration or a proof, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So now, if you're going to demonstrate that, falsify that, then what you have to do, you have to test the DNA. That's the only thing that can possibly prove it wrong. Now, yeah. I've got an interesting.
In the sense of sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but prove.
That's okay.
But prove in the sense of a hard, like the proof in the hard sciences.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yes. So this is so this is always going to remain. I mean, it's literally natural history. So they're going to have to say that there's going to be different standards. I would think that they would have to say that there's going to have to be different standards applied in the case of natural history than in the case of the hard sciences, and they're going to have to appeal to that. Back it up one step.
So you're going to have to back. Yeah, you're going to have to back off of evolution as a fact.
Yes.
Yes. You're going to have. Yeah,
that's a key point. Right.
Exactly. So you can't say that. That's a hard statement. That's a hard scientific statement, and you just don't have the hard scientific facts to prove that.
Right. Now, what we really have is an ideology.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then an ideology has a certain function, always.
Yeah. Now, you see, I don't care if a person wants to believe in evolution or not. I really don't. I have nothing against people that believe in evolution. Now, what I have a problem with is dishonesty. And dishonesty in science. And the beating people over the heads with, you don't understand science if you're asking me for proof. Science doesn't prove anything. Science proves things every single day. Science just doesn't prove evolution. So that's...
Eric, I'm going to have to say, because I'm doing my own stream in a moment, so I'm going to love you and leave you.
Okay, brother.
Yeah,
thank you, Bill.
That's all right. And like I said, I've commented obviously as good news gospel in the stream. So if people want to pop over later, come in for a conversation, you can. And I just want to let people know I'm duly fair. If something's wrong, it's wrong. And I will come against something that's wrong. And my stream is coming against wrong theology. So I'm not being discriminative. I'm literally saying that if it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm going to come against it. Like evolution, and obviously on my stream, some most very peculiar heresies. So,
amen.
I will bid you both Godspeed, and if you want to later, you can always pop on my stream later.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'll be happy to, brother.
God bless you. Nice to meet you, Doran. And I won't call you Duran. Not like
Thank you.
I'll call you Doran. God bless you. And hope to speak to you again soon. God bless.
Yes, sir. Good to meet you.
So I've got a really interesting quote from a fellow named Dr. Colin Patterson. Dr. Colin Patterson used to be the senior paleontologist for the British Museum of Natural History. He's an evolutionist. He wrote books on evolution. He traveled a world circuit discussing evolution, and but he was an honest man. And when he was asked, "Why haven't you included pictures like the Archaeopteryx in your books on evolution and transitional species?" and he says, "Hey, I'm going to be honest with you." He says, "Evolution can transitional or fossils can tell you many things, but what they cannot tell you is whether or not they are parent or child to any other fossil in the record."
Mm.
And he said, you know, you can sit and make up stories all day long. He literally said this. You can make up stories all day long about how, you know, it was logical that one life form gave rise to another, but there's no way to put that through the to the test.
Yeah.
So it's as good as a fantasy.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. That's what
Yeah.
we're stuck with.
Well, that's
Now-
interesting. You make that point because if you read philosophy of science, read widely in philosophy of science. I have a master's degree in philosophy, so philosophy of science was at one time one of my interests. And if you read deeply into it, you do find that that's what they're going to say is that, especially when it comes to, you know, that there a lot of philosophers of science are going to say this about all science, including the hard sciences. But especially when it comes to things like natural science, they're going to say that what you're engaged in is literally making up satisfying for various reasons, satisfying stories.
Exactly.
And that's as deep as it goes. It doesn't go any deeper than that.
Yes.
You know, because you can't.
So,
come up with a
yeah.
theoretical construct that's going to allow you to, that's going to allow you to create a scientific program, a research program that can then get on with, and be productive and things like that. And that's it. And then that's as deep as we can go.
Yes. And that's a really interesting point. It's too bad that they want to be dishonest and say that evolution is a fact, and that they want to say that if you ask for the falsified test that falsified this, then it's just an argument from incredulity, and you don't know science. I think that's a rather childish answer.
Oh yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Well, I think it's a highly uneducated response.
Yes.
Kind of indicative of somebody who hasn't read terribly widely in the logic of science. I mean, I'm going to have to go here in about 5 minutes, but I mean, I just want to mention that I think that the whole project of evolution comes from, we begin with certain assumptions, which is that everything is physical, and that you begin from simple particles that came into existence from nothing somehow.
Yes.
You have to get from simple particles to human beings, and so we have to tell a story that's going to not include any reference to an intelligence that would be capable of organizing complex beings like human beings, like our fellow creatures, so you have to have a way to do that. And that's, I think, how you get to evolution.
Yes.
Begin from those basic assumptions.
Yes, you have to. That's a
and the other thing that I find impossible. I mean, I have a lot of Christian and religious friends who are evolutionists, and I've always had a difficult time understanding how you can especially Christianity. Christianity is really difficult to reconcile with evolution. If you, the whole picture becomes kind of absurd.
Yes.
Like the idea of original sin, for example, which is so central to Christianity. I mean, to think that you have the first human beings being born from, non-human animals, right?
Yes.
And then what? What's the rest of the picture? I mean, God whisked them away to a garden or a paradise of some sort and gives them laws. And how does all that work? I mean, the whole picture becomes just kind of clunky,
Yes, it does. I agree.
and unworkable. So this is a topic I'd like to get much more into, especially the particulars of evolution. Because when I was an atheist, I was always looking for, the absolute slam dunk evidence that evolution was true. And I read what I could find about it. And it was interesting and it was frustrating because I couldn't find that evidence.
Yes.
It just wasn't there, and to get an explanation of where the theory came from, it really wasn't, I didn't really find that explanation until I began to read in the philosophy of science. And then that presented a completely different picture. And so anyway, I just wanted to.
Another interesting point that you're touching on there, but haven't quite gone to, I often bring up abiogenesis in my discussions on evolution.
Mm.
And the funny thing is, the evolutionists that I've spoken to many times will say, well, abiogenesis has nothing to do with evolution. But the whole thing is a process of evolution, theoretically.
Yeah. Right.
It must be, right? It has to be. Life had to evolve before life could evolve into other organisms.
Yeah.
So
go ahead and just tell me what that story is, and I'll listen if you have the evidence about how that's possible. I'm all ears for it, but you never get it, do you?
I don't think that it's possible myself. Are you familiar with Dr. Fred Hoyle?
I don't think so.
Well, he was a mathematician who doubled as a biologist, and he's one of the most famous mathematicians in the last 100 years. But he was teamed up with a group of biologists too, and they studied abiogenesis, the whole theoretical process. And he figured out that mathematically, for two proteins to just randomly combine to create, begin the process, and of course you need more than two, but the chance.
Hope you froze up, Eric. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let me see if I can contact you by chat. No, better. Let me try Facebook. Because you are completely frozen. I don't even know if anybody is hearing me. Let me see.
He likened it to a tornado running through a junkyard and creating a Boeing 747 jet.
He's the source. You froze up for a little bit there, but I think I got your basic point. Okay.
Yeah. He was the source of that. Abiogenesis is likened to a tornado going through a junkyard creating a jet. So, but I point out that it's even worse than that, because after that jet is created, then it has to develop a way to feed itself and to multiply, to reproduce itself. And then it has to develop consciousness.
Right, yeah.
So, in my opinion, that's how ridiculous and absurd the whole idea is.
Yeah, well, I think I think when you think about it in those terms, when you think about it in clear terms, it really becomes preposterous.
Yes.
It becomes. Yeah. I mean, consciousness itself opens up an entirely different dimension. There an explanation isn't even, I don't think, in the offing. You know,
no, there isn't.
And so, I think it's a just to conclude, because I'm going to have to go here, but I mean, I just get the feeling that it's a paradigm that's getting ready to collapse.
Yes.
Yes. And it's shaking, it's kind of teetering. You can kind of feel it,
Yes.
And I think it's ready to go and to be replaced with something else. That's my theory about it.
I can think of at least 3 different lines of science that actually falsify evolution as it's taught today. Evolution leading us back to the last unified common ancestor, and then back to the first organism, and back to abiogenesis. I've got 3 lines of science that are falsified, that scientific proofs, tests that prove that these things just can't happen. So, but Doran, I want to thank you so very much, my friend. God bless you. It's so good to have you today.
Thank you for having me on. I would love to get more into this and explore some of that evidence that you're talking about.
Well, we'll definitely set up a time when you can come on and we can discuss evolution in detail and abiogenesis too, if you'd like. I would enjoy that. Okay. Figure out a time that's good for you, brother, and we'll talk. And anytime you're good with it, okay?
Right on. Good to talk to you, Eric. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, face to face. Finally, God bless you, my brother.
And you.
Thank you. So, going on with this now, and it was so good to have my brothers in this little discussion here. Let me put the link one more time in this discussion here on YouTube. And if anybody from Nemesis, I see you out there in the chat, you're welcome to come in. There you go. You don't have to be afraid. I promise you I will not bite your head off. Here you go. One more time. And you are invited into the stream. So if you'd like to come in, please pop in. We'd be glad to have you. I will not treat you badly. I can promise you that. And we will go on here with our further discussion on the debate. We'll carry that on for a few minutes. And you'll see how when Mr. Boring gets in trouble and he cannot answer these questions, they try to save his butt and mute me.
Get his
Yes. Which ones? Yes. Yes.
Tomato.
Prove that.
We can demonstrate that.
I didn't ask you to demonstrate. I asked what is the proof for it.
Okay, so there's another breakdown that we have to explain, is that evolution is not about proving, it's about demonstrating it to be true.
No. What is the falsification process you went through to falsify whether or not titulates are evolved from fish? What was the what was the falsification process?
Okay, so what we do is we look at what we have. We look at
you look at it. Okay. Now you develop your hypothesis. You look at it.
Now, you notice again, he doesn't want to answer his question. He wants to say, you look at it, well, that doesn't tell us how you falsified it.
Between these two organisms, what about a tree? Because they obviously related. Now I'm asking you, okay, you have your hypothesis based on morphology. What is the falsification process? DNA is the only way to actually prove whether or not one thing is related to another, or whether or not one thing evolved from another. If you go to the court of law, the judge here want to say, look, my baby's short, fat, got little short arms, and so does this dude. So he's obviously the father. I want child support. The judge is going to say, no, I need the DNA. So what we need tonight is the DNA. Where's the DNA?
So is this just a watch party or what up?
Is the offspring of a fish.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
Oh, you don't need it. So you don't need to put your idea through a falsification process.
I hope you understand that the echo is making you scream.
You mentioned
unwatchable.
Darwin's benches as an example of evolution.
You don't know how to get rid of the echo, do you?
Okay, you what?
As documented in 2018.
There was a video going. That's not an echo. Is this is this part of Nemesis?
Nemesis? You don't even know what Nemesis is. Stop talking about Nemesis.
Oh,
Michael
explain
Berry
to us
told
what
you that
Nemesis is.
Nemesis is a group on Facebook who shares memes debunking pseudoscience, like what you push.
Well, no, I know what you are. You're Nemesis is a group of atheist stalkers who mass report everybody as their superpower. That's your superpower. Mass reporting everybody.
I think
so. That's what I found to be
confused.
No, I'm not confused at all. You see, I was only asked.
Here's what's going to happen, Eric. Eric. This is what's going to happen.
This is my program.
This is what's
hold
going
on
to
a
happen.
second.
No. You're gonna get 3 chances to talk over me. The first time you talk over me, I'm gonna say strike.
Okay. Now, this is my show, so you're in the audience. Okay, I bring you on. That's cool. This is not.
No. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing,
yes.
Eric.
Here's the thing. You're going to be good in me and hear me out, and then we'll talk. Okay, we will talk. You'll get your chance.
You're going to hear me out.
That's what. Okay, sit in the audience for a minute. So, here's what's going to happen. Okay, what I found is I was asked if I would debate somebody. I said, sure, I'll debate you. And I invited people to come join my group because you didn't want to debate me in the other group, and you wouldn't come on YouTube to debate. So I tried to debate 4 or 5 or 6 of you, and unfortunately, none of you could debate. And when you got frustrated, you began to mass reporting me, and you got me a 30-day ban. Now, that's okay, because I couldn't care less if I post on Facebook or not. So that doesn't bother me. You don't intimidate me, and there's nothing you can do to harm me, okay? Nothing. You guys are totally impotent, but that's what you are, mass stalkers. You're a group of stalkers, and your superpower isn't debate. It isn't intelligence. Your superpower is mass reporting, and that's cool. Everybody's got to have a superpower. Mine is reason and debate. Now, I'm going to bring you Wolfsbane. I'm going to bring you on to my program, and I'm going to let you ask me anything you like. We can talk about anything you like. Here you go. I'm bringing you on right now. Okay, so there you go.
Are you done
now,
with
what
your
would you like to discuss? What would you like to discuss? I didn't bring you on to.
I'm sorry. Are you
spam.
Are you done with your diatribe?
I'm inviting you to talk. Would you like to talk? What would you like to discuss?
I am talking right now, and right now.
Okay, what would you like to discuss?
Your inability to allow people to finish a sentence is what I would like to discuss.
Okay, we'll ask something intelligent. What would you like to discuss?
Who told you that I was a member of Nemesis?
I'm asking, are you?
I told you I am not. That was one of the first things I said when I got in here.
That's not what you said.
That is what I said.
Okay, so go ahead.
Literally,
what would you like
watch
to talk
it back.
about?
One of the first things. Well,
that's okay.
First
what would you like to
first,
discuss?
It's not potato, tomato between Tiktaalik and Tickleick. Tickleick is nothing. Tiktaalik.
Tiktaalik.
Second.
Tomato, tomato.
No, not tomato, tomato.
Yes.
It is the
So
critter.
go
It
on.
is the
Go on.
correct pronunciation. Second.
Okay, so do you believe that the tick-to-lick
Second.
was?
I'm not done.
Was,
I'm not
I'm
done.
asking.
I'm not
Do you
done.
believe that it
and I'm
is
not
evolved
done.
from a fish?
And
We're
I'm
having
not,
a discussion.
I'm
Or
not,
do you believe in evolution?
I'm not done with my point.
State your
Second,
position.
You asked what I want to talk about. I'm going to tell you what I want to talk about. Okay?
Well, let's get to it.
What I want to talk about is how Tiktaalik is pronounced Tiktaalik. Luca is not last unified common ancestor. It's last universal common ancestor. It's not phylogenic. It is phylogenetic. You cannot even get the most basic terms correct.
Mhm.
How do you expect
Tomato,
anybody
tomato.
to take you? It is not phylogenic,
tomato.
and
Okay.
phylogenetic is not tomato,
Okay.
tomato. You are literally just saying the wrong thing.
What's the difference between a phylogenic tree and a phylogenetic tree?
Phylogenetic is actually a thing.
What is the difference between the two?
Phylogeny is actually a thing.
What is the difference between the two?
Phylogeny, phylogenetics.
And what is the difference between the two?
Listen.
Do you know the difference
I'm
between the two?
explaining to you what the word means. Philo
Explain
meaning,
what the difference between the two are.
philo,
Okay. Now, here's the way it's going to work. We're going to have an orderly discussion, okay? I'm trying to figure out what your position is. So I'm going to ask you what your position is, and you're going to identify your position. And you're going to state, I'm not going to sit here and listen to your grammatical corrections, okay? I don't care. I couldn't care less. So, but if you do have any points of science that you would like to bring up, feel free to bring them up. We're not going to talk about stupid stuff today, okay? So I'm bringing you back on. All right. So,
I
now,
hope
what
you
would
know
you-
that
what-
every
what
time
would
you
you like
mute
to
me,
speak
I
to?
just go ahead and mute this site, because if you're not going to listen to me, I am not
I
going
really
to
don't
listen
care.
to you.
That's okay.
So what I was saying was
No. I'm
phylogenetic.
asking you. Okay. I told you we're not going to have an English lesson here today. I'm not bringing you on for an English lesson, okay? You're not here for an English lesson. You are here to discuss science. Now, I asked you what's the difference between phylogenic trees and phylogenetic trees, because there is a difference, okay? You're acting like a phylogenetic tree doesn't exist, and you're wrong, okay? So, I'm asking you, first of all, let's find out what your position is. Do you believe in the theory of evolution?
We're
Now,
not
I'm bringing you
discussing
on,
English.
okay?
This is science.
So,
These are
hi,
scientific
once again,
terms
do you
you're
believe
using,
in the
and
theory of
you are
evolution?
using them incorrectly. You are using these terms.
What is the difference between
You are using.
what is the difference between a phylogenetic tree and a
I
phylogenetic
will
tree?
explain it to you if you do not
Well,
mute
go
me.
ahead.
I love
Go
I love
ahead.
how you said I'll treat you kindly and with fairness, but
Well, I'm asking.
but the second
You're not answering the
the
question.
second
Are you going to answer the question, or am I
I
going to
was
pick you up again?
answering the question. You
Then
were
answer it
speaking
now.
over me. I will not be spoken over. Are you going to stop
Well, you
speaking
will.
over me? Are you going to
Go
allow
right
me
ahead.
to answer the
Explain.
question?
Explain the difference right now. I'm waiting on you.
Phylogenetic means philo, meaning phylum. You know what a phylum
Right.
is. Genetic meaning
Right.
genetic. You know what genetics are, right? What is a genic?
Yes.
What is a
Okay.
genic? It is phylogenetics. It is
So
the
what's a-
phylogenetic challenge.
So show me the genetics of the Tiktaalik. Where is it?
Tiktaalik.
I don't care. I want to see its genetics. Where's its genetics?
You know TikTok? You know
Where do you
TikTok?
have their genetics?
Did I claim that I had their genetics?
I'm
Did anybody claim?
So you're
that
not
we
here to
need genetics?
have a discussion. You're just here to act like an idiot.
I am here to have a discussion, and I've
Okay.
proven-
Do
I've
you
already-
have the genetics?
I'm just not here to have a discussion on what you want to have.
You
a
want to talk
discussion
about grammar. I'm not interested in
No,
grammar.
it's not grammar. It is scientific
asking you-
terminology.
I am asking you.
Scientific terminology is
Well,
not
there is
grammar,
a phylogenic
Eric.
tree and there's a phylogenetic
It
tree.
is
There's a
phy-
difference. So, what I am asking you is, do you have the genetics of that animal? Yes or no? You obviously don't.
Do you really think
We
that
know you
DNA
don't. Okay, it doesn't matter.
How long do you think that DNA can be preserved?
That's exactly my point. So
you are purposely asking for something that you know cannot be fulfilled.
Yes,
you're purposely
because
asking
I'm
because you're
purposely
intellectually dishonest. You're only asking the questions.
No, I'm purposely proving that your hypotheses are unfalsifiable. There's no way for you to put them through a falsification test. A falsification test has to have the potential to prove your hypothesis was wrong. Okay, and you don't have the capability to prove your hypothesis wrong because you don't have its genetics. There you go, son. That's why I'm asking. Now I'm going to bring you back.
As I've said, every time you've muted,
and I want to ask you, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Since you don't have,
there is no point in talking if I am
I don't
muted
care what
because
you
I
do.
am not listening.
So, do you have any more questions?
I do have questions.
Or do you have a topic?
Yes,
Okay,
I have
go ahead.
Very good question.
Scientific ones.
If you cannot even get the basic terminology.
Okay, I told you. You're not here for an English lesson, son. You're here to discuss science. Okay, so we're going to discuss science, or you're just not going to talk. I don't think at this point you have the capability to discuss science. What you've already proven is that I'm right. You don't have the genetic structure for any of these alleged transitional fossils. None of them. You don't have any. None. If any of you other little fellows want to come on here and you feel you're capable of a debate, if you are capable of a debate, feel free to pop up and I will put you on the program. But you have to be able to talk science. Okay? We're not here for English lessons. I don't care about English lessons. Okay? That's not what we're here for. So, there you go. If you want to come on. And if you want to talk science, we'll talk science. If you don't want to talk science and you want to talk English lessons, you're not going to sit here. That's just all there is to it. Because that's not what the show is about. Now, Wishbone, Wolfbane, that's what you call yourself? Just like you call yourselves Nemesis, Nemesis. I'll show you what a Nemesis is. You're not a Nemesis, okay? Neither are you Wolfsbane. You might be a Wishbone, but you're not a Wolfsbane. So I'm going to give you one more chance to come on here and talk science. If you want to have an honest discussion, you're entitled. I am allowing you. So
my question was,
Eric, my
question was,
time, and this is
if you cannot get the terms correct.
Okay, he's still talking English lessons. So he's gone, and I am just not going to bring him back on. I told you this ain't an English lesson, son. This is a scientific discussion. So is there anybody else down there from Nemesis that is capable of a scientific discussion? I don't think you are at this point. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to have a scientific discussion with you. Your one little fella there, he's not capable of that discussion. He wants to have an English lesson, and he can't even tell me the difference between a phylogenetics and phylogenetics. So, that's cool. At any rate, you're literally waiting to be let in, he says in the comments. My friend, I've let you in a dozen times, and I told you this ain't in English. I'm not here for an English lesson. Okay? Kirsten, would you like to come on? Feel free to come on. If you guys got anything to talk about other than English lessons, you're entitled. I'm a literal child. When you can't come on and talk science, no, son. You're the literal child. You're not capable of talking science. That's okay. I gave you chance after chance after chance. And Lucas, Lucas, I know you. Now, would you like to talk science? You're another little fellow that never would talk science with me. You want to troll, you want to play, you want to fish around, but you don't want to talk science. So, Horsethorn, would you like to come in? If you guys want to talk science, if you got any question, if you got any real question that has to do with science, we're not doing English lessons. You're welcome to come on in. I will put you on. And it doesn't look like any of them want to come up. That's pretty funny. You know, your boy lost the debate here. I want to tell you, he said, for instance, that Venter never, Greg Venter, never said that the Tree of Life of Common Descent is a fiction. And last night we did a little thing on there where I actually put Craig Venter on in his little clip, his discussion with a panel of other atheist scientists. He's an atheist as far as I know. And he believes in evolution as far as I know. He just doesn't believe in it as it is taught. He claims literally there is no Tree of Life of Common Descent. Your boy didn't know that. Your boy didn't know what a Luca was. Your boy didn't know that you have to falsify a hypothesis to call it science, to separate from science fiction. He is so nervous. Again. This is pretty cool. He's so nervous and scared. They see the nervous, scared deer in the lights look on his face that he can't answer these questions, and they have to mute me.
What are you talking about?
It was documented in 2018. Rapid hyperspace.
See, rapid hybrid speciation has absolutely nothing to do with the questions he's being asked.
Regeneration was documented in nature.
Okay, what did they evolve into?
Eric, I'm sorry, but
You see, he's being asked now, what do these things evolve into? They're still finches, what he's talking about right now. He's totally off topic again. But what he's talking about, rapid speciation, they're still finches. There always going to be finches. And Schrodinger's cat, when I put his feet to the fire, Schrodinger's cat, which is another one of you guys that I had to boot out of my group. And here he's getting his revenge. Watch this.
if you keep not letting him answer
I'm
the
asking you,
question,
what they evolved.
and I'm the moderator, so please let me speak. If the overtalk keeps happening, I'm gonna have to ask.
So much for
You.
cross-examination.
It's pretty hard to do when I'm cross-examining him. It takes on a wild goose chase.
For example,
I'm arguing this with you. So I'd like you to name a transitional fossil. Any transitional fossil.
Tiktaalik was traditional form.
Okay. And you have no way of proving that it evolved from that fish. You have no way to falsify that hypothesis.
We do know that. There are several.
You know that because you assert it. You have no way to.
See, there again, he's not answering the question. The question is, where is your falsification process to prove that claim or to disprove that claim? He doesn't have one. And look at how nervous and scared he is. His feet are being held to the fire, and now here comes Schrodinger's cat again to save his sorry little self. Here he comes.
You have no DNA from that, okay?
I explained how we don't need DNA.
You explain how you don't need to prove the fossil.
okay, Craig, please, everybody, and let me say a few words. Okay, the question was.
So here he's eating up my time.
How he's demonstrating that that this transition happened. So.
And they mutiny and they change the question. I am not asking how they demonstrate anything. I'm asking what is the falsification process that these things were put through.
Dale, please answer the question. Take 30 seconds.
Pardon me, but that was not the question.
Eric will be muted. Oh, for
See,
this
that's
answer.
not even the question.
Pardon me, but that's not the question.
Okay, reiterate your question. And then
Stop that with this.
I'm asking you to give the same courtesy
See, I'm muted again.
JL gave you to give him time to answer the questions.
And look at the look on his face. Look at the look on JL's face. His feet being held to the fire because he knows that these things have not undergone a false. Now I've got a list of questions waiting as long as my arm. And I can't get past this little crap because I can't get him to answer the question I'm asking. And they're trying to cover for him because they know he doesn't have what I'm asking for. They're trying to not help him look so bad. But look at that look on his face. That is a look of fear and worry. And, oh boy, he's in something that he can't get out of. And he's depending on them at this point to get him out of it.
So, reiterate the question you want to ask, and then we'll give JL time to answer.
So how much of my time have we eaten up so far in arguing back and forth on whether or not I can answer these questions?
The problem was not that that you weren't not.
He's not answering the question I asked. That's the problem.
Ask the question, please, and then we'll give him time to answer.
Okay. Well, I've proven the point that none of these things gone through a falsification process. Nor because that theories have to go through a falsification.
Yeah, he thinks his theories don't have to go through a falsification process. They're good without it. That's his opinion. He doesn't have to follow the scientific method. So who is it that doesn't understand scientific method? Who is it that isn't practicing science here? It's obviously the evolutionist. So here we go.
Okay. Why is it that we run several radiometric tests on any given artifact?
Now, I'm asking this question for a specific reason. Because evolutionists and archaeologists that support evolution, etc., they date shop. And they date shop through radiometric testing. And they also have to make several presuppositions. For instance, they have to presuppose that a rock is a certain age before they choose which element they're going to test it with. But watch this. Watch what happens here.
Eric will be muted for at least 30.
Yeah, Eric will be
in order to understand its relative age. It depends on what we're testing,
So they're giving him more time.
It's different. It specifically depends.
That was his answer. We run several different radiometric tests to estimate its age, but no, that's not true. You see, different isotopes and different conditions that you test them in are going to all give you different ages. So they use all these various different isotopes, and they use all these various different conditions until they get the age that they want. That's okay, I knew it. This is 89 years old. I knew it all along. But they've run probably a dozen tests to get that. And the isotopes that they used, you had to estimate that this rock was at least 1 million years old before you chose that isotope to test it. You have to make that assumption. But what if it isn't 1 million years old? That's my point. They date shop and they presuppose before they even test anything. They already have a presupposed date.
Use 14 for some. We can use potassium. Extremely old, for things that are extremely
You're not understanding the question.
But for things that are extremely old, we have to use better, more accurate terms of dating, which the best ones are uranium lead dating, and there are 3 different uranium isotopes, and all of them.
When you use uranium lead dating, you have to assume that that rock is 80 million, or excuse me, over 1 million years old. There's also potassium argon that they use quite often. The thing is, they keep testing these things and testing these things and testing these things with the different isotopes until they get the age that they want. And then that's the one they publish. That's proven, folks.
Them decay into lead. And so we know this.
So he's still not answering my question.
We found zircon crystals, and we understand how zircon works during formation. We can take that information and we had it here on Earth.
Keep me muted. They're keeping me muted here, so I can't stop him and say that's not what I'm asking. They're letting him eat up all of my time to cross-examine. Now, I've been in other debates where we cross-examine one another, and if they're leading you down a BS road, buddy, you're allowed to cut them off, to stop, to ask them to answer the question, or to even ask another question. I had a list of rapid-fire questions that they simply didn't let me ask.
What was one of the benefits of the Apollo landings was that the samples that they brought back also.
Now he's talking about Apollo and the moon and all this, and they're just letting them rattle on, eating up all my time.
Certainly run those exact same tests, but the benefit of this is that the moon is tectonically inactive, and because the moon is tectonically inactive,
and still, couple minutes now, still muted. I can't stop him. I can't say answer my question.
then the rocks on the moon are the rocks that have always been there since the formation of the moon. And so we know we're not.
See, they're not letting me at all get to my point. That these people date shop. They literally run the test, and they can run these tests and get literally tens or hundreds of millions of years differences in all these various different tests that they run on the same object, and they keep running these tests until they get the desired date, and then they publish that date. Now, if you don't believe me, you ask anybody, you read these peer-reviewed papers and find out how many tests they've run. Ask them. And I'm still muted. I still can't correct him. I still can't ask him to answer my question, even though he ain't even talking about anything I asked him.
Because we know the half-life of 3 different uranium.
So I remain muted for most of my time while he gets to just ramble on again about things that I'm not even asking him. I don't even care about.
Thing. Because, every one of you guys are a part of the group called Nemesis that mass reported me for saying things like Geoff disappeared.
I'm not part of any group called Nemesis.
Of course you're not. Yeah, you're the buddy. And look, I'm muted again. And he's still talking during my time while I'm still muted. I didn't get to cross-examine this poor little fella. Now, Geoff Warren, I challenge you any day to come on, and we will talk. I will get us a third-party moderator, or we can go on other channels that I know of that will not play partial. They will let us hash this out. They will let us put each other's feet to the fire. I dare you to do it. I dare any of you to. You won't stand. You didn't stand here. I told my people before I even joined this, I said, look, I've agreed to go onto a hostile channel. These are people that mass reported me, got me put in Facebook jail, which I don't care. I'm just saying that's what they do because they can't win a debate. So I went on. I was man. Now you boys know what a man looks like. I go on a hostile channel. I have a hostile moderator. I have a hostile channel owner. I have a hostile debater. And all these people are friends. I'd kick them all out of my group for spamming because they wouldn't debate. I have a serious debate group, and they wouldn't debate. They just wanted to spam and act like idiots. So I kicked them out of my group. But I had enough fortitude to show up on their channel. And this is what they do. When you put their feet to the fire and you ask them to answer questions, they eat up your time, they mute you, and they just talk all the way through your time. Now, they might say, well, you muted me. Well, yes, you wouldn't talk science. You want to talk grammar lessons. You want to talk English lessons. We're not talking about English lessons, son. So if you would have talked science, you would have stayed. You wouldn't have had a problem here. But let's go on. Still married.
Is you're specifically
He's still eating up all my time.
radiometric dating, and that
I'm obviously not going to be able to cross-examine for my 10 minutes.
billion years. So as
I'm obvious, and I don't even get it. And I don't even get it tell him to answer the question I asked. Not ask the question he wants me to ask. So here's the question I was asking. Many times we test the same artifact with several different methods. Why? For instance, lead or etc. Why?
we radiometric date things to find out their age.
And he's not answering. Why do you use several different methods? Because you date shop. But here we go.
Let's do that on one particular item.
Because different dating methods work differently on different things.
There you go. Because different dating methods work differently on different things. For instance, if you have a rock and you want it to test 80 million years old, well, then all you do is you put it through this test, that test, this test, that test, this test, that test, until you get one that says it's 80 million years old. And that's the one you pick. And that's the one you publish. So, yeah, he's admitting now to date shopping. My point exactly. That's why I even asked that question. But there's tons of other questions that I did not get to answer because they ate up all my time. Now, am I complaining? No. Not a bit. I'm man enough to deal with it. I dealt with it. What they wanted me to do, and I saw it in their comments, they wanted me to rage quit. But I refused to give them anything like that. I don't quit. Okay? I'll endure it because people that are honest, no matter which side they're on, are going to see what happened here.
Let's give you different dates. And you actually date shop using radiometric dating. You date shop. Now, let me ask you something.
Now, look at the embarrassed look on his face. He's got his head lowered. He's got his head down. He's got that look on his face like, oh, boy. Yeah, busted again. Because that's exactly what they do, and he knows it, and he's not going to deny it. He can't deny it because that's what happens.
Why would you assume that something is going to be 1 million years old before you even test it?
Now, here you're going to find out he's not even aware of how radiometric dating works. He's going to deny that.
You have to assume before you use uranium lead that the rock you're testing is 1 million years old or older. You have to assume. No, you have to assume it.
He's going to say, no, we conclude it is. We don't assume it is. We conclude it is before we use it. Yeah, well, you're assuming it. And with potassium argon, you're going to assume that it's at least 600. That's what
Let me give you an example. They use potassium argon dating on a piece of the dome from Mount St. Helens. Creationists collected it and turned it in. They ran the potassium argon method, and they said, "Oh, this is at least 3 million years old." And then they were busted because it wasn't even 20 years old. It was formed during the Mount St. Helens flow. And the reason they were given because was you can't use the potassium argon method. It's not liable for anything for 600,000 years old.
Which is why we use uranium lead.
And uranium lead is even worse. You hear what he said there? This fella don't know a thing about it. With uranium lead, it's even worse because you're going to have to assume it's at least 1 million years old. And it's really not even good for anything under 10 million years old.
So they're good now. Uranium lead, you have to assume even worse, that it's at least 1 million.
No. We don't
Oh,
have
you do. I have the site right there in my...
Now, I included the citations about all this, too. And now, let me talk about the citations for a moment. And I have the screenshots to prove this. When I was agreed to come on there, he says, well, if you guys give me the citations you're going to use, I'll put them up on my page so everybody can look at them. I said, cool. I give him 20 citations. This guy had like 6. I gave him like 20. Now, after this debate, if that's what you want to call it, after this little one-sided affair where they kept me muted the whole time and wouldn't let me cross-examine him, wouldn't let me have the open discussion with him, I looked, and they had only put up four of my sources. I had sources for absolutely everything I said, including this, that you have to assume if you're going to be using uranium lead, you have to assume that rock's over 1 million years old. I have other sources that say it's no good unless you're assuming it's at least 10 million. So here's, but they only put up 4 of my sources. Now, they tried to make me look bad and discredit me because they knew some of my arguments. I had 4 of them. I tried to debate 4 of them in my own group. And after just a few posts, they quit out of frustration. So they knew what some of my arguments were. They knew they were going to have a problem with this. So they tried to discredit me before the debate even started. They were telling people I was a flat earther. They were telling people I was a young earth creationist. I'm an old earth creationist. And I've got the screenshots to show that I had a discussion with Michael Toon on this, showing him that I was an old earth creationist. And I plainly asked him, why are people talking about me being a flat earther on that link that you posted? And he, to his credit, he finally corrected it, but he wasn't going to until I caught him. And then at the beginning of our debate, you know what they said? They introduced me again as a young earther, knowing that I'm not. And then all through the comments here, they referred to me as a flat earther and a young earth creationist. You see, they can't win the debate. And when his feet are held to the fire, they muted me on nearly my entire time and during what was supposed to be an open discussion. And they try to discredit me by calling me a young earth creationist and a flat earther. So that's how desperate these guys are. And you see, this fella here, can't even, that I had on a little bit earlier, he can't even talk about science. He wants to talk about English lessons. So I'm going to put down here one more time the link. So if any of you want to come on here, you'll be treated good. You will. Let's just talk about science. Okay? You're not being invited on for an English lesson, tomato, tomato. Okay? It's not about that at all. It's about science. So are you going to come on? Would you like to? Eric, why are you dishonest? And dishonestly against the teachings of Christ? Huh? Oh, isn't dishonesty against... No, I'm not dishonest. I just proved everything I said right here. So if you guys want to come on, you're more than welcome to. It's right there. And I think this is absolutely hilarious. Look, I'm trying to do damage control in the chat box. It's just absolutely hilarious. And they're asking me, does science prove things? Because let me tell you something. You know why they say science doesn't prove anything? They say science doesn't prove anything because science doesn't prove evolution. Okay, Lucas, I see you're on backstage. I'll bring you on in just a moment. Hang on. I will let you in. Now, they say that science doesn't prove anything because science doesn't prove evolution. But science proves that you can control somebody's blood pressure, raise it or lower it. You can prove science proves that you can control their heartbeat, raise it or lower it. Science proves that we can put men on the moon. Science has proven this. But you know what my opponent said in the debate? He said, no, science did not prove that we can put men on the moon. Science just demonstrated that we can put men on the moon. So the fact that and I asked him, the fact that we put men on the moon, you don't think that's proof that we can put men on the moon? He said, no, that's just a demonstration. That's how desperate this poor fellow was. It's not proof. Going to the moon isn't proof you can put men on the moon. But it's just a demonstration. That's not proof. Okay. Lucas, I thought you said you were backstage. I don't see you backstage. I was going to let you on. Is that you? Run scared? Is that you? Well, I know that's what you've done so far. Every time I've offered to debate you. Now, Lucas, fair warning. If you're not going to have a discussion with me, okay, then you're not going to stay on, okay? Oh, there you are. I see you. Okay, there's Lucas. And this guy, I run scared. Hang on, I want to bring Lucas on first. Okay, so Lucas, I want to welcome you. How you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I really am. And I sincerely want to welcome you. If there's anything that you would like to...
Don't be too sincere, because before you said we didn't talk about science. I'd say we've talked about science many times.
Well, let me rephrase that.
No, okay, no, because you said you were being honest. And
We
talked
haven't-
about science many times.
we haven't-
And you said you don't like
Okay,
people being dishonest. No, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish, okay? Because
Okay,
I'm
let me clarify.
I'm
Let
talking
me
about
clarify.
something. No,
I
you
will
don't need to clarify.
hold on,
You don't
I
need
will-
to clarify because you've already said
I
this.
will
Okay?
clarify my own
Every
statement.
time we've
have
talked
never-
about science, you've ended up calling me gay or a moron or an idiot. You've done that to many
Did
people.
we ever
Every time they
debate?
disagree with you.
Did
Every time
we
we
ever
disagree with
debate
you.
science?
No, you didn't say
What did
debate.
we
You said
do
talked
when I
about.
offered to-
You said talked
What
about.
did I do what happened when I asked you if you wanted to debate science? Because
I said I don't
when
debate.
we get into our
I said I
yes,
don't
exactly.
debate.
Because
I'm
okay,
dyslexic
so
and I
now
find that hard for me. So when
now
you said
let's
let
let's
me
talk
clarify.
about science.
Let me
No, hold
clarify.
on.
Let me clarify.
Are
So
you
when
here to
said,
talk about science?
Yes, I am. I am.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
So
let's get
let's
to it.
talk. Let's talk about you being honest and about science.
Okay, I'm being honest. Every time
Well-
I've tried to talk to you about science, you would not answer any of the questions I asked
did.
you to try to reason things through.
I've
So
asked
let's see if you
I
can.
answered you.
That
we were
was
in a,
that
we
was
were in
the
a
cause of
conversation.
our. That
we
was
were in
the
a
cause
conversation
of our
with six
conflict.
people.
Now,
We were in a
hold
conversation
on.
with six people, which were all asking me questions about
Lucas.
science. Were they not? Were they not all
Okay.
asking me questions? So
Okay,
now there's
all
two
right.
things you've lied about. So
Lucas,
how many more do you want to go?
You are a proponent of evolution, yes?
No, sorry. I'm trying to get to the point where
Are
you are
you?
honest
This
about
is
this conversation.
we're having a scientific discussion.
No,
That's what
no,
you're
no,
invited
no.
for.
I can't
Yes.
have a scientific.
You see, that's what you always say.
How can I have
No,
a scientific discussion with
Every
you?
time I ask
How can
you
I have a
something.
scientific discussion with you if you won't be honest? Because
So,
so
are
far
we
you've
going
lied
to-
about me twice.
Well, I
You've lied
told
about
you
me twice.
we're going to have a scientific
Oh,
discussion,
Oh,
or
we're
you're
not-
not going to have a discussion. So, are you a proponent of evolution? Yes or no, Lucas?
Are you an honest debater? Are you an honest
Yes, I
speaker?
am. So,
Do you?
are you
Did you
going
just lie about me twice?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You
Uh,
said you never talked to me about science,
You
and
see,
then you
this
said
is
to me,
this is what you do
"No, yeah,
when I
yeah.
try to ask you, when
No,
I try
I
to
came on here.
cross-examine you,
I didn't.
when
come
I
on here
try
for a
to
debate.
ask you the questions
I didn't come
about
on here for
what
a
you're
debate.
talking about, why you believe what you believe, then you don't want to answer anything. Then it's no longer a discussion. So
Sorry.
yeah, at that point, I do have a problem
I
with
haven't
you.
claimed anything
So,
yet.
Do you believe in evolution? Yes or no?
I'm dishonest because I haven't claimed anything yet.
Do you believe in evolution?
Yes,
Yes
you
or
do.
no?
You know I do.
Okay. Now, do you believe that transitional fossils exist?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you believe that tetrapods evolved from fish?
My turn.
No.
turn.
Do you believe that
My turn.
tetrapods evolved from fish?
No.
You don't.
No.
What do you believe tetrapods evolved from?
I don't know what tetrapods evolved from.
Okay, so there you're having a dishonest discussion.
No, I don't know. What's wrong with that? What's dishonest
What
about saying I don't know?
But you're right, you don't know.
I don't believe
But
anything about
you
them
believe
because
in
I don't
evolution.
know.
Do you believe, you just said you believe transitional fossils exist?
Yeah.
Okay, so you believe they're transitional.
Yeah.
Now, why do you believe they're transitional?
Because it's the best evidence I've been shown.
Okay, and how has this been tested?
Through observation.
No. Your
observation of fossils.
Your observation is not a test. Do you know how science works, Lucas?
Mary Schweitzer, that's how she
observes. Do you know?
Isn't that how Mary Schweitzer observes her fossils?
Do you know how?
Isn't that how Mary Schweitzer observes her
do
fossils?
You know
how else she does it? How would she do it?
See, there you go. Do you know how science works?
Where are you allowed to ask me and I'm not allowed to ask you?
How is your observation?
You know a debate's supposed to go both ways. You're not supposed to just keep on asking me questions. Wouldn't Mary Schweitzer, the same person you cite,
Lucas obviously doesn't want to have this conversation. Why? Because not only can he not tell me why he believes that transitional fossils exist, he believes they exist because he looks at them and he makes the observation that I claim that they make. Okay.
Ooh, are you straw manning me?
I believe.
Are you straw manning me? I didn't say any of that.
Are you going to answer the question? Okay, well, let's drop little Lucas. Lucas isn't able to have this conversation. So Lucas says that he observes that tetrapods, which means a four-limbed animal, are related to fish and evolved from fish. Lucas believes this. Lucas believes that, let's say Archaeopteryx, for instance, evolved from a theropod and modern birds. Now, Lucas believes these things, and I asked him, "What's your proof?" And he says, "The observation is the proof." Well, no. You see, again, he doesn't understand how science operates. You make your observation, Lucas. Your observation is, okay, here's the Archaeopteryx, and it has qualities of a quadruped dinosaur, and it has qualities of a bird, okay? So they are obviously related. Let's just put them right in the middle there, and we'll say this is a transition between theropod dinosaurs and birds. Now, that's his observation, and that's what he did. His observation was they're morphologically, they have similarities. Now that he's developed his hypothesis that it belongs right here between them, he has to test it. That's what Lucas doesn't want to admit. He says, I observed it, so that's my test. No, your observation is what you based your hypothesis on, dude. Don't be ridiculous, okay? And this is why we always had a problem. Because I would try to have a reasonable, intelligent conversation with him, and he just wants to sidetrack it. He doesn't want to go orderly. He doesn't want to talk about order. He doesn't want to talk about the scientific method. First, you have your observation. That is not your hypothesis. Nor is your observation your test. You base your hypothesis on your observation, and then you test it. And the only way to test a falsification process, Lucas, do you know what a falsification process is? It has to have the ability to prove your hypothesis is wrong. And the only way which can possibly prove that the Archaeopteryx is not descended from dinosaurs and is not the ancestor of my birds, the only way to prove that is through DNA. If you don't have the DNA, and you don't, then it is unfalsifiable. As therefore not science. Negation is a fact. You just can't do that. So I'm going to bring you on one more time, Lucas, and we can have this conversation in an orderly way, or not. I don't care. But I welcome you to my program, and I welcome you to have an honest conversation.
Oh, okay.
So
when did I say that my...
says I'm straw manning him now.
Yeah, you did. Because when did I say that... Okay, when did you say that?
Hold on.
No.
What?
You just said...
What?
You just... No, you
when
just
it comes to the Archaeopteryx, Lucas, we're having a scientific conversation.
No, because I have to address the things you just said about me.
No, I can't answer that.
Sorry, we're having an adult conversation. You just said you wanted to be an adult.
What is your observation when it comes to Archaeopteryx?
No.
What is your observation?
God, Eric, you just...
What is your observation, Lucas?
You just took me off the show to ramble about me, straw man.
What is your...
You won't let me address what you just said about me.
Okay. Now, what is your observation?
Oh,
we're talking about the Archaeopteryx.
No. You just
what
said
is your observation?
How I... You just said the observation was how I ground all my beliefs. Yeah? You just said...
No, that's not what I said. I said your observation is what you base your hypothesis on.
Which is not.
Well, of course it is. You base your hypotheses on your observations.
Yes, and what do you do with your conclusion?
Okay, so we agree there.
What do you do with your method?
Now, hold on.
Your analysis?
Methodology.
Observation and analysis.
Lucas, calm down.
Now, I have to once you have, or you'll talk over me.
Lucas, once you have made your observation and then you develop your hypothesis, then you have to put your hypothesis through the falsification procedures.
No, first you have to test it, then you put it through the falsification process.
Well, what do you think a test is?
No, there is.
What do you think? What do you think falsification is? Falsification is a test.
Comes after testing.
Falsification is a test.
No,
Lucas.
they're parts of it. Yes.
Okay.
And what
do you do? I want
what
you
do
to
you do
define. Show everybody you know what falsification is, Lucas.
Oh my God! You won't actually let someone talk.
Show
you really
everybody.
Can't. You can't let someone talk without
straw manning your belief.
You need them to answer a specific question towards you, or you can't
answer. Yes, this is scientific procedure.
That's why you just took me off.
See, rambled
about me for 10 minutes.
Lucas doesn't want
and then didn't actually let me address it.
Define falsification, little fella. Come on,
little fella. Oh,
yes.
We're honest, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We don't talk down to people. We're an adult show. You've gone, yeah.
If you want to act like a child,
okay. Everyone on the show, he calls people gay. He calls people He calls people homos. He insults them. He calls them twats. He's called people morons. Every time they disagree with him.
Moron, I'll agree to.
No. Oh, sorry, you didn't call people gay. You didn't call people gay.
Okay, so come on.
Oh, no, you're laughing.
I want you to define.
If we're going to be honest, Eric.
I want you,
Lucas.
Are we going to be
honest? Are you going to be honest?
I want you to define falsification. Okay, we will drop Lucas back out of there. Now, here's what we got Lucas up to. Lucas admitted that his hypothesis was not his observation. That first you make your observation. Now, we're using Archaeopteryx. And the observation he makes is that Archaeopteryx has similar qualities to a theropod dinosaur and a bird. So it's obviously a transition in between. Now, that's his hypothesis based on his observation. Now, we have to put it through a falsification test before you can consider it valid. Otherwise, a falsification test is the only thing that separates science from fantasy. That's it. The falsification test. If it doesn't stand up to a falsification test, then it's as good as any fantasy, and may or may not be as good as any science fiction. So, Lucas, I'm going to bring you back on for a minute. And I want to ask you, Lucas, to define falsification as it applies to the scientific method. Okay? And then we will continue our discussion. So it doesn't matter what anybody has ever called it.
Eric, why are you bringing it back on?
Is our discussion right now.
Eric,
okay?
why are you bringing it back on?
I'll come back.
Why are you bringing back on?
I would like to ask.
You just told everyone what I thought.
I would like to ask you.
You just muted me and
I would
told
like to
everyone
ask
what
you.
I thought.
I would like.
Eric, did you say
I would
this?
like to ask you.
Eric, did you say this?
You said you believe.
You're a gay
Lucas,
little fellow. You don't know anything. You're such a little
Lucas,
gay boy.
I am.
Did you say that, Eric? Did you say that?
Well, are you?
Did you say that, Eric?
It?
Come on, let's be. Oh, I'm acting gay. How is this acting
are
gay?
You acting?
Eric?
I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, what I'm asking you, Lucas,
well done, Eric.
Would you please define the falsification process?
Come on. Why do you need me
so
to
you
talk,
can't
Eric?
Define falsification? What? Okay, goodbye, Lucas. So you see, this is how these guys are. They absolutely refuse to have a scientific conversation. Absolutely refuse it. So goodbye, Lucas. You had the opportunity, thought. Now, run scared. I take it you're a member of Nemesis, a friend of Nemesis. I'm going to invite you on. I'll let you identify yourself, friend or foe, and we will simply have a scientific discussion. Okay? I'm going to ask you a few questions. Do you believe in evolution? Are you a gradualist or a punctuationist? And I want to ask you what you think various proofs of evolution might be. And we will discuss them. Okay? If you can't discuss this, if you can't stay on topic, if you got to be like Lucas, you're not going to stay. See, so this is hilarious. Nobody that I've invited on has been able to talk science. I want to know why. Is this the best Nemesis has? Tell me. Your boy obviously lost his debate so bad the other day. They had to stop my cross-examination and our open discussion. And look at that word look on his face. It's still there on the screen for everybody to see. So, Ron Scared, I'm going to invite you on. I'm bringing you on. And I want to welcome you.
All right, first things first, you're not going to mute me, right?
And not as long as we can have an intelligent, honest discussion. And
all right, well then I'd like a crack. I'm sorry, I'd like a crack at the. Like a crack at the question you just asked, Lucas. If you see, I shared in the chat a link to a YouTube video.
Okay, and what about the YouTube video?
It is a video of Richard Feynman from, I cannot remember the year, explaining very vehemently the scientific process, and he disagrees with you on quite a few things. You know who Richard Feynman is, right?
Of course, yeah, and that's fine. That's he's allowed to.
It's not fine if you think science is something that science is not. If the scientists disagree with you on what the scientific method is, would you not be the one in the wrong?
Now, let's discuss this. Okay? You're bringing about a valid point.
I would like you to play the video so that we can actually address the points raised by the video, which I believe go against what you've said.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, for the sake of brevity, because this has already gone on for a couple hours, just explain the points. We'll talk about them. I won't keep you from it. Go right ahead. I know that there are people that disagree with me. That's fine. There are scientists that disagree with me. That's fine.
But this is one of the most brilliant physicists of our time, and he is discussing the scientific method, and he flat out says that science does not prove things, because in science there is always a slim possibility that an experiment in the future may come out to prove what you had thought was correct incorrect. You can use it to falsify, prove things incorrect, but you cannot use it to prove things to be 100% correct. For instance, you like to use the moon landing, blah, 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 blah. If there was, for some reason, tomorrow, if we got the equipment to zoom in to the lunar site where they say we've landed, and there was no lunar module there, that would be an experiment falsifying a previous hypothesis.
Do you believe we went to the moon?
I do.
Okay. Do you believe that there's enough evidence that we went to the moon?
I believe that there is enough evidence to suggest yes, but again, if tomorrow there came out a telescope which could zoom into the lunar landing site and we found no evidence of human activity there, that it would then be falsified.
Okay, now if we actually went to the moon, would that be proof that man can put themselves on the moon?
It would be a demonstration, yes, but
you don't think it would be proof?
It would not be proof in the sense of what proof means when we're discussing academic terms.
You see, I think that's and please understand what I'm saying here. I'm not calling you a dishonest person, okay, when I say this. But I think that's a dishonest point. Because, okay, if we can honestly say, if we can say that we have put men on the moon, then the fact that we went to the moon would be proof that we can put men on the moon. But to say it's not proof, it's just a demonstration, that's just double talk.
See, the thing is, though, when we're talking about scientific proof, that is an oxymoron. Because proof is fundamentally not a concept in science, as Richard Feynman explains.
It's not
you can use it to falsify, but you cannot ever 100% prove a hypothesis or even a theory correct, because eventually, let's say tomorrow, God came down from the heavens and told every single individual person, you were created 6,000 years ago. Evolution falsified.
I don't believe that.
A miracle has happened. Every single person on the planet saw it, and we were giving direct. I mean, I guess it's not proof that it's proof that at least a God exists. I guess that's a better way of putting it. But my point is that there will always be a advancement of science. So science will always be figuring new stuff out. And at this point, we're talking about falsifying. We're not even talking about modifying previous hypotheses to fit with the new data that we have found.
No, I agree. If you test an hypothesis, okay, if you come up with any hypothesis at any point and you test it and it fails that falsification test, you don't have to just scrap it. You can refine it. I agree with that point.
Yeah, and the thing is, you use Mary Schweitz as kind of a keystone in your entire argument. But what you fail to mention when you mention her paper, which was cited in your SC Tune showing, the paper. What's the word? I'm sorry. It put forth many different explanations which could plausibly lead to decay further than what she was able to demonstrate in the lab. Your entire argument for not even having a million years, as you put it in the debate, the entire argument rests on what Mary Schweitzer was able to perform in a lab.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving no opportunity for advancement or things that we don't know. As I can't remember who
would
said
you mind
it,
would you mind if I correct you on one point?
What you don't know.
Would you mind if I correct you on one point here? I actually leave room for what you're saying to be true. Okay. What I'm very clear about when I talk about Mary Schweitzer is that she's no longer a young Earth creationist. And as far as I know, she may be an old Earth creationist. I'm honest with Venter. Even though Venter says there's no tree of life of common descent, that genetics proves it wrong, he's still an atheist and he's still an evolutionist. He just doesn't believe it occurred as is commonly taught. If I can just explain for a moment what I was talking about when I referred to Mary's paper. Mary actually presented a couple papers. Three that refer to the soft dinosaur tissue. The first paper that she presented was when people were ridiculing her, and they were also ridiculing Mr. Tom Horner, Jack Horner, her boss. Do you know who Jack Horner is by chance?
I do.
Okay. Well, for the people that don't, Jack Horner is probably the most respected, foremost paleontologist of the last 100 years. He was the science producer or the science consultant for the first 3 Jurassic Park movies, and he's an atheist and an evolutionist. And so when Mary published her paper about finding soft dinosaur tissues, or when she let the news out, I should say, Jack Horner was under pressure, at least his beliefs were, because people began ridiculing both him and Mary. And they said, well, you people are insane. That's impossible. You don't know the difference between biological materials and biofilm. And so their first paper...
skepticism is very important in science. Yes.
I agree. So the first thing they did, the first paper that they published was rerunning these tests multiple times. I don't know, 100, 1,000 times. I know they ran many tests, repeating the same test over and over again, and always with the same results. They found vascular tissues, blood veins. They ran across red structures that appeared to be red blood cells in the veins that were in the tracts of the veins. They found collagen. They found osteocytes. Osteocytes are the little mechanisms that lay down the cells in the bone. And so it was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that, they didn't mess this up. They found legitimate biological tissues in these bones. Now, the second paper that they published was a paper that was presenting various hypotheses about how this may have occurred. Because for some reason, this tissue, which for collagen, for instance, if we use not the short half-lives of vascular collagen is 60 to 70 days, but if we use the longer half-life of 117 years for the collagen found in cartilage, then what we have is after 10 half-lives, you should have basically nothing left, which is why we only see 14 things that are up to possibly 60,000 years old, no older. So you should have, at the end of 10 half-lives, that's 10 times 117. You've only got 1,170 years.
And now you're going to bring up your 200-fold increase, which please explain to me your math.
Okay.
When you do that.
Now, 200-fold, like if I say something is 10-fold or 200-fold, that means 200 times what you've actually had. So if you have 1,170 years, and you multiply that by 200 times 200, you have 234,000 years. That's all you have. So what she needed was not just a 200-fold increase. The hadrosaur bone that she found she found soft tissue, not in just T-Rex, but the hadrosaur as well. The hadrosaur was said to be 80 million years old. So to reach the 80 million year time scale that they're trying to say these things existed, you don't need a 200-fold increase. You need a 680,000-fold increase. 680,000. So you have her tests fall way short. Now, am I saying that they will never?
I'm sorry, I was not currently able to speak while you were talking a second ago.
Okay, go ahead.
You said that. Repeat your math for me again. You said how much plus a 200-fold increase is what now?
Okay, well let's take it back to the beginning. If you have
and to be clear, it's not. I feel like it's a 200% increase was what was said, not 200-fold.
No, her paper is clear. I can bring it up right here and show you.
I can actually bring it up as well.
Pardon.
Oh, you're cutting out, Eric. And we are dead. Am I still broadcasting? I hope so.
Okay.
Hello.
Let me. I clicked the wrong page. So let me bring that back up. If you go to her paper, it's called a rule for iron and oxygen and the preservation, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I'm going to pull that up in this window. Now, are you saying that you're bringing it up too?
Yes, I've got it right here.
Okay. A rule for iron and oxygen chemistry in preserving soft tissues, cells, and molecules from deep time. Now, if you go down to the abstract, okay, you're going to see what they did.
Oh, I've scrolled way past the abstract. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to go a little deeper than that.
No, it's right here in the abstract.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. You are correct. 200-fold. You are correct.
Okay. Now,
that was my. For some reason, I Mandela effect or whatever. I remembered 200% and not 200-fold. That's
okay.
My fault.
I've actually misspoke a few times and said percent when I meant fold, and there is a big difference.
Okay. That's probably what I was remembering then.
Yeah.
Because yes,
I have. Yeah. You know, we all misspeak at times. I've misspoken and I've said percent when I meant fold. The difference here is if you have 1,170 years, a 200% increase is going to bring you to like 5,000 years.
So we're not in the abstract anymore. You're not. Are you referencing the paper or
yes, I'm still in the abstract here.
Now, where do you see that 5,000?
Well, I'm just speaking off the top of my head. Let me show you where. Yeah.
So, in short, these numbers that you're giving are your interpretation of this.
No. Mine. You can Google. If you Google collagen, half-life, and cartilage, you'll find that the half-life is 117 years of collagen that is found in cartilage.
Excuse me, but I don't think this paper is actually trying to preserve the carbon inside of the tissue. I think it's just trying to preserve the tissue, which is two different things.
What she did, she was testing this to see how long various proteins could be preserved. Okay. Now,
so why are you using carbon?
I'm not using carbon. No,
you are saying that because carbon 14's half-life is 117 years.
No, you misheard me. I'm sorry. Actually, carbon 14's half-life is 5,730 years, give or take 40.
I must have misheard you.
But I'm talking about collagen. Collagen was one of the proteins that they found in these soft tissues.
Okay.
Now, what I was saying is we have different types of collagen. Okay. Now, we know that they found blood cells and they found blood veins, or at least they think they were red blood cells. They were red blood cell-like structures sitting in the tracks of these blood veins. So, at any rate, along with osteocytes and collagen and etc., Now, vascular collagen, if I use that as an example, it's only got a half-life of 60 to 70 days.
Vascular collagen has a half-life.
Right.
Do you? I'm sorry. Explain how vascular collagen has a half-life, please.
Well, all biological materials have a half-life. Collagens, proteins of various sorts. DNA has a half-life of I think it's 234 years. All of these things have a half-life, and she's referring to this. She's trying to figure out how to preserve the stability so that they have longer half-lives.
See, here's the problem: is that it does not say that in this. Well, and I don't see anything about half-life of collagen anywhere in this paper.
Well, that's because it doesn't give you the half-life of collagen. But we do know.
So again, we're off of the paper that we're supposed to be talking about.
No, we're not.
We are supposed to be discussing this scientific paper.
Exactly.
And you are bringing up other things which are not found in this paper to support your argument when we're supposed to be discussing this paper.
But collagen is one of the things that they found. They have to figure out collagen is one of the proteins. Now she's talking about proteins here, trying to increase the stability of these various proteins. Okay. She talks specifically about
I'm sorry,
increased
but
fossil tissue.
The word collagen does not appear once.
Right.
In this paper.
But if you study her works, if you study her other papers and you study her interviews, you'll see that collagen.
Can you cite the other papers which give the figures you're citing?
Oh, dude, there's plenty of them. Well, hold on, just follow the math here for just a moment, okay?
I mean, I'd be more than happy to follow the math if you could show me evidence of the math being correct.
I'll be happy to, but we've already been in this for a couple hours. So
I'm sorry, no, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on this.
That's okay, and
please provide the citation to show that the process you're using to come to a maximum age for these bones is not. Show me that this is the correct process to apply.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now. If you'll give me the opportunity,
you're explaining it, but
okay,
you are not showing the evidence.
Now, well, I will. You know how
why can't you now?
Because I don't have it right in front of me. And I would have to pull up all of her interviews and all of her papers and go through each and every one.
So you are quoting a.
I'll tell you what, though, if you would like to schedule a time where we can go through this, and I will point each and every one of these points out to you, I'll be happy to.
I'm sure you know James of Modern Day Debates. Have you ever spoken to him?
Yeah, I have, as a matter of fact.
Are you on good terms with him?
Yeah, I'm on. As a matter of fact, he was wanting me to come on to discuss the flood with Gutsick Gibbon.
Oh, Gutsick Gibbon, I like her.
Yeah, I do too.
Get in contact with James, and I'll get in contact with him as well, and we can set it up.
That's fine. In the meantime,
either way, my entire problem with this is that your argument seems to rest on applying a process to figure out a maximum age for a bone, which you cannot show that is the appropriate process to apply.
Okay.
See, you said earlier about how you cannot use carbon-14 to date items older than blah, blase. Well, the fact that there are carbon-14 atoms which have decayed, we see the bones in the ground which have no more carbon-14 atoms. Wouldn't that suggest that they're drastically older than that limit?
No, actually, I can show you papers that are saying that every single bone that has been turned into these very specific 3 different labs from scores of samples from bone, but actually, I can't say hundreds, but definitely scores of them, have been presented from different dinosaurs, different digs, different museums, and every single one of them registered carbon-14. And I can show you the papers. I have them right here. I can pull it up and show you where evolutionists are scrambling to explain this away. And their simple explanation, to put it in a nutshell, is that every single one of these were contaminated. I can also bring you evidence from a discussion with Jack Horner from a fellow named Bob Enright. Bob Enright is a radio host who actually had a discussion with Jack Horner. And in this discussion,
you just got to remember the nursery rhyme, Little Jack Horner sat in the corner.
Exactly. But in this discussion, Jack was actually offered $20,000 to plus the cost of the test if he would subject that bone to C14 testing. And Jack wouldn't do it. And the literal explanation that he gave that's on tape, and I can play it for you. I will be happy to do it in our debate or our discussion, whatever we want to call it. He literally says that the reason he doesn't want to do it is because the spin that Christians will get just will not do them any good.
Well, yeah, I have to agree with him on that because, and I do not mean to degrade you on this, but I do feel it is very apt comparison. Do you know of a man by the name of Flat Out Hero?
No, I don't.
Flat Out Hero, a few years back, I can't remember what year it was, he issued a challenge to all globe heads, and he wanted us to map a triangle where you leave from one point on the globe, go to another point, and then another point, and then back at the same point. You can
thank you.
And all of your angles would have to be over 90 degrees because of globular excess.
Yeah.
Or spherical excess. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure if he was the one who got taken to court for it, but another flat earther did a very similar challenge, and he was taken to and somebody tried to fill that challenge, and he was taken to court for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the court ended up ruling in favor of the flat earther because for the flat earthers evidence for how the flat earther had set up the challenge, I'm drawing a blank right now. How he had set up the challenge, winning was near impossible. You know, he was the only judge. He could dismiss evidence on a whim. It didn't matter, you know? And the flat earthers have been using this non-stop, and I mean
I can imagine
non-stop, because in their mind this proves that the globe lost in court because of how the flat earthers spun it.
I
understand. It doesn't matter
your point.
what evidence you bring to somebody who is willfully misinterpreting that evidence in order to prove a point.
Well, all he really wanted to know, and the people that were throwing their money together to donate to this, was whether or not it does have C14 in it. And that was all. And, you know, an honest test, if you put it out to 3 different labs and come back, bring all 3 tests back to make sure that you've got an honest reading and it's not, a false reading or something. If you do that, then it gives us an idea of is this younger than what people are saying it is? But the fact that all of these other bones have tested between 9 and 40,000 years old, well, using C14, I think it's hard to write that off as every single one of them have been corrupted. But let me give you a chance real quick to just understand my reasoning, since we were talking about the dating of Mary's paper, because I truly do want you to have an understanding of what I'm saying here. And I will prove all of the points that I'm telling you.
I think you've see. I don't think you're listening to me, Eric, because we've already discussed proof in science.
Well, no, I want you to understand where I'm getting my figures from. First of all,
so show me the citations where you're getting your figures from.
no,
Don't you think it would be faster to just grab a site? I mean, assuming that you have this paper memorized to the point where you can cite it offhand.
I don't have absolutely every single point of every single paper. What I've got,
but you have the data memorized to where you can cite it offhand, but you cannot tell me what the paper is called. You cannot provide me a what's the word? Is it PDFI or something like that? RCMI? Something
I told
like
you
that?
in our discussion or debate, I'll be happy to put all of this before you. I want you to understand first where I'm getting my figures, okay?
The issue I'm having now is if you're getting your figures from a place and you can't even tell me the name of the place you're getting your figures from, I don't trust a word you say.
Okay, let's pull this up.
Because I may make you a little angry for this, but you were lying about Lucas quite frequently.
No, I wasn't.
And you have lied multiple times about the time you were allotted in the debate against J.L.
No, I didn't lie about anything.
I have provided a citation. I watched that debate meticulously and tracked each and every one every time either you, JL, or the moderators spoke during the debate. You took up a clear majority of the time.
Well, that's not true.
Even in your cross-examination, which you claim was taken
my cross-examination,
you claim was taken from you. You spoke for 7 minutes and 50 seconds, while JL barely spoke for 3 minutes.
Well, I was silenced most of my time in that. Having to argue with I just played it. Everybody heard it.
Yes, and we saw you speak over JL multiple times and refusing to allow him to answer your questions.
He wasn't answering the questions that I asked.
He was attempting to answer your question. You just were doing what you were doing to me right now. You were just doing what you are doing to me right now.
I asked him
and
to define
speaking over him.
Okay, I want to. Now, here's what I've told you. Okay, I've told you now. Okay. Now, first I'm going to pull this up.
You know what? I'm done here. I'm done faking this fucking British accent. You're a dumbass. Fuck off later.
So we see what they've got. They've got nothing. Now that I have the proof that I was going to put before him, he no longer wants to be civil. He no longer wants to have a scientific discussion. You see how they are. That is cool. That's Nemesis. That's all they've got. Now, I'm going to pull this up for everybody, and we're going to see what this says. I need to navigate back over here, and I need to screen share. We are going to go to tabs and the paper, the effect of collagen turnover on the accumulation and advanced glaciation in products. This is what he asked for right here, folks. And this is a peer-reviewed paper. And you're going to see here. Let me pull it up over here now. And we're going to find the specific reference. Okay. Now they're talking about collagen right here, and we see in figure 3, the half-life, 117 years. We've got several references to it, actually. Articular collagen, 117 years. There it is, right there. Okay, and I'm going to read this specifically. From the age-related increases, blah, 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 the half-life of cartilage collagen was calculated to be 117 years. There you go, right there in black and white. The half-life of cartilage collagen is 117 years. So, there you go. Nemesis is destroyed again. So, there you go. Now you see how Nemesis is. So, if you take the 10 half-lives and of 117 years, you have 1,170 years. Now, multiply that by Mary's 200-fold that I showed you a little bit earlier, and you have 234,000 years. So there you go. These bones cannot be any older than 234,000 years old, according to Mary Schweitzer's paper, according to the math of the falsification processes that these things went through. She was trying to figure out how can you make these bones and these soft tissues last 80 million years, and the best she was able to get is 234,000 years, not even a million. She needed an increase for the half-life of collagen of not just 200-fold. She needed 680,000-fold to reach 80 million years. Now there's something else in here too that I can show you. I'm going to pull up her paper once more, and I'm going to put this on screen share for you. Tabs. So here's something else really interesting. We didn't hear about soft tissue in dinosaur bones until after like 2005 or 7 or 13 or something like that. But looky here. When you go down to the introduction, she tells us that they have been finding soft tissue in dinosaur bones since the 1960s, and that these bones are not completely fossilized. She says, preservation of structures in fossils that were not originally mineralized, in other words, not fossilized in the living organisms, is uncommon, but it's represented in microbes, plants, animals, in other words, even soft-bodied things, and disparate environments throughout the fossil records, and references therein. Soft tissue structures retaining some aspects of the original material and not completely replaced. Replicas, in other words, they're not fossilized, not fully fossilized, have been described in the Mesozoic fossil bone as early as the 1960s. So, friend, they've been finding this stuff since the 1960s, and they just haven't told you. You talk about dishonesty. That's as dishonesty as Nemesis. And that's as dishonest as Nemesis. That's as dishonest as that freak little thing they called a debate. There wasn't a debate. That's as dishonest as this dude just was that didn't want to have an honest debate or even an honest discussion. And obviously, he's going to be afraid to go on modern day debate. So that's the way these folks are. Now, there you see it. I have the numbers right in front of me. you saw the 117-year half-life of collagen. If you multiply that by 10, it's simple mathematics. Why don't we carbon date anything over 60,000 years old? Because at the end of 10 half-lives, or 57,300 years, you should have nothing, virtually nothing left. So at the end of 10 half-lives, you should have virtually nothing left of collagen. So at the end of 10 half-lives times 117 years gives you 1,170 years. That's all. Multiply that by Mary's 200-fold, 200 times, and you only have 234,000 years. There is no time for evolution. That's why he quit. He was about to be busted. He was about to be proven wrong because I said, okay, I'll take the time to pull this up. Okay? Now I'm glad I took the time to pull it up. So there you go. These guys have nothing. These guys, let me tell you something. They have been threatening me on Facebook, threatening me on YouTube, and I don't care. I frankly don't care. They said, well, we will keep mass reporting you if you keep your friendship with this one friend that I've had. I know this fella. We've known each other for years, and we once started off as bitter enemies. We really were. We were bitter enemies. And I have another friend that was friend to both of us during this time where we were bitter enemies. But now we're no longer bitter enemies. We debated for years. We've known each other for a decade. And these guys are saying, if you continue hanging around with him, we're just going to keep mass reporting you and stalking you and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Do it. Throw your best at me. I don't care. If I never get to post on Facebook again, do you think that bothers me? No, I've got a life. Okay? So, these guys, they're pretty impotent when it comes right down to it. They have magical powers of, you saw it, confusion. They don't want to have scientific discussions, dishonesty, stalking, mass reporting, and that's all they got. None of them are capable of a debate. Now, if any of them want to prove me wrong, you go right ahead to modern day debate. Let me tell you right now, I accept. I don't care who it is. I don't care what the topic is. Go ahead. If it's scientific or about God, I accept. Period. I'll tell you that ahead of time on modern day debate. Look, I'll even come to your channel again. I don't care if you mute me all the way through it. I don't care if I don't get a chance to speak. People see that. Your channel ain't going nowhere when you're like that. They're trying to build a debate channel, and yet that's how they debate. I don't care. I'm not afraid. Now you know what a man looks like, folks. Nemesis. So, if any of you ever want to debate, I don't care if it's on my channel, a third party that I know, a third party that you know. I don't care if it's on your channel. I don't care if it's on Modern Day Debate. I accept. You got that? So there we go. And I know that that's something that you boys cannot and will not say. You cannot and will not. You would love for Eric to give you evidence of creation. Well, I can sure do that, but, none of you can give me evidence of proof of evolution. Okay? You can't give me any of the falsification processes that your stuff has gone through because they haven't. Nor can you, you just can't. You never will be able to. That's all there is to it. You can't stand up to the things that have already been proven wrong, like you don't have time for evolution. Mary Schweitzer's paper proves this. 234,000 years, you don't have time for the Pakicetus, a little dog-sized mammal, to evolve into the modern whale. 234,000 years, you don't have time for a common ancestor to evolve into human beings and chimpanzees. 234,000 years, you don't have time for theropod dinosaurs to evolve into Archaeopteryx and to evolve into human beings. You don't have time for that. There is no time. So if there is such a thing as evolution, it sure didn't happen the way you say it did. Now, what if they come up with different numbers? Okay, that's fine. But up until now, 200-fold is the best you've got. And it doesn't get you anywhere, buddy. Nowhere you want to be. So with that, I want to thank everybody that has watched. Eric, he has to lie about people, they say. Well, who did we just prove who the liar was? He just busted himself. Don't talk to me about lying, guys. I didn't have to lie. I didn't change the debate structure in the middle of the debate to try to protect somebody. I didn't take away their chance to cross-examine for 10 solid minutes, or their ability to have an open discussion for 15. I didn't take that away. That was taken away from me, and that's okay. I'll come back. You guys don't worry me at all. You don't scare me. I ain't worried at all. I'll come back. You don't believe me? Try me. Challenge me. With that, my friends, I want to say God bless you all. You know, I really wish this could have been a much better debate. I really wish any one of them would have come up here and had an honest discussion, an honest debate. But you saw what we got. That's okay. That's Nemesis, folks. I have to laugh every time I hear that name. So thank you very much for watching. I love you all. I even love you guys. You make me laugh. And you're kind of disgusting. God knows you make me shake my head. But I love you. And I really mean that. So God bless you all. This is Eric, a.k.a. Wolf Bitten. Thank you so very much for watching. Love you guys. Love you all, my friends. Amen.